Hello and welcome now to lecture 13, and in this one let's start building our pool and we'll just see how far we get with this lecture. So first of all, let's go ahead and press 7 to get us in an orthographic view of the plan, and let's press Shift A and Mesh and Cube, and let's bring that down a little bit to sort of the middle of the pool area, and let's scale that up. And something like that. Let's have a look. Oh, actually, I want to come to this edge with this, so I'll scale this down a little bit and bring this over like this, and maybe scale this up a little bit more. And yep, I think that's pretty much what I want. So now I'll scale it up in the x-axis, so I'll press SX and just bring this again to the boundary. I want it kind of level with these walls, so I'll just shift that over a little bit. And yeah, that works for me, that's fine. Let's see what this looks like more from the front now. And let's press 1 on the numpad to get us that orthographic view of the front. And bring this down. In fact, let's press Z and go to wireframe for a minute. And let's bring this down to just below ground level in this case. I'll kind of go to about there like that. I think that's pretty much what I want. And let's have a look at the depth. Let's tap into edit mode, grab this bottom face here, and maybe bring this up to what looks like about the right depth for a swimming pool. Maybe something like that would be about right. Maybe a little bit less. And that looks right to me. Let's get this top face, just click on this one, and let's right click and delete that face. We don't need that anymore. And I think now, let's press 2 on our keyboard so we can select faces. And maybe we can grab this top face here. Let's press 7. And let's press E for extrude, and Y, and bring this over slightly to about halfway across the wall like that. And now let's press E again and Z and bring this down now to create that infinity drop that you see on some swimming pools. There we go. That's cool. That's what we want. Let's tap out of edit mode with that for a minute, and now let's press Z and go to solid and just see what we've got. And I think that's looking pretty good overall. I think what I want to show you is my preference, and this is completely up to you. I'm going to use something called MCap. So if I come on over here to the top here, click on this, and click on matte cap, sorry, and click on this one, and now click on the color. I can change my color. So I'm going to change, this is my personal preference. You can go whatever, you can go for quite a sort of shiny surface like that, but I don't think that's looking great. Or you could go for like a light brown, like a coffee color, which is okay actually, that's not bad at all. But my personal preference is this one. So this is what I generally model in, this sort of clayey red color. This is my preference. So from now on, I'm going to do this, but that's completely up to you. You don't have to follow me with that, whichever visually works best for you. Okay, now we've done that, let's actually just grab this item here and hit the / key on the numpad to isolate it. And I'm not going to put a bevel on all surfaces, but I just want to put a bevel on these two little edges here. So let's fix the scale, so press Ctrl A and apply rotation and scale. And now let's tap into edit mode, and let's just grab this edge, hold shift and grab this edge, come in a little bit maybe, and press Ctrl B and just see if we can bevel those edges just a little bit. That's enough, I would say. I'll add one more segment, and there we go. That's all I want to do. I'll tap out of edit mode with that one, and that's our pool pretty much done. So we could name it in the outliner, so I'll double click on it and call it the pool. There we go. Whoops, caps are on. Turn those off and cool. There we go. Okay, let's bring everything back. So I have the / key on the numpad, And let's have a look at that and see what we got. And yeah, that's looking fine. Okay, the next thing I want to do is work on like an edging tile to go around that top edge of the pool. So I think we'll do that next. So let's press 7 to get the orthographic view, and press Shift A and Mesh and Cube. Let's bring that cube into play, drag that over like this, and let's press Z and go into wireframe on it, and let's press S and scale this down to maybe something like this. I'm going to bring this back a little bit. I want it to overhang the pool a bit, but not too much. And I would say that's about right. Let's go ahead and scale this up in the X now. So I'll press SX and bring this out until it kind of lines up level with the edge. And maybe we'll just go a little bit more. Maybe to about there for a moment. We'll leave it like that. And now that we've done that, let's go ahead and name it. So we'll go pool edge. There we go. And now that we've done that, let's press Shift D and Y and bring a copy out like this. Now let's rotate that. So I'll press R, 90, enter. And let's bring this over on the X axis until we've kind of got that where it wants to be. It's not looking too bad. Maybe we'll just take it over a little bit on the X. So I'll press G and X and just shift it this way a little bit more. There we go. And now let's take it down on the Y axis until it's flush with this one. So I'll press G and Y and just bring it down until it's level like this. Okay, that's cool. That's kind of what I want. So the next thing I want to do is make a copy and bring that to this other side now. So I'll press Shift D and X and just bring a copy over, and for now just drop it on the other side. We probably won't use this one. I just need to get a length for this back piece. So now I'll just press G and X and just bring this over until we're happy with the location. Alright, that's cool. Let's tap on the longer piece now, and let's tap into edit mode using tab and press 1 on the keyboard to select vertices. And let's bring these vertices until they're in line with the one we've just positioned, something like that. And let's do the same now on this opposite side. That's cool. That's what I want. Okay, let's tap out of edit mode with that one for a minute. And now this one, I'm going to go ahead and delete that one. And we're just going to work this one. So now let's tap into edit mode with this one. Grab these vertices here and pull this up until we're kind of level with our boundary walls. Something like that should be just about right. Okay, now that we've done that, whoops. Let's press 2 so we can select edges. Grab this edge here and press Ctrl R and roll the mouse wheel to divide this surface up. I think I'll go maybe 2 more and maybe just move those back just a little bit to something like that. That should be good. I'll tap out of edit mode with that one and I'll grab this one now and tap into edit mode with this one. Maybe grab this edge here and press Ctrl R and we'll do the same thing. We'll just scroll the mouse wheel to divide this with loops. I think maybe one more, and I think I'm happy with that. Cool, that's good. Okay, so let's tap out of edit mode with that one and let's go back into solid mode. So let's press Z and go solid, and let's have a look at the height of these. And maybe we grab both of these now and we press 1 on the numpad, and let's press Z again actually, sorry, and go into wireframe, and let's bring those down to pretty much ground level now. That's cool, that's what we want. And let's tap into edit mode with both of those and press 3 so we can select faces. And I'll just select just this one, and then we'll go over to select and select similar, and let's select coplanar. And now let's press 1 again on our numpad to get that orthographic view of the front, and now bring that up to get a thickness for these edge tiles. And I think about that should be good. That's cool. So now we have them at the right height and the right thickness. Okay, so now we need to start applying some bevels to these. Let's tap out of edit mode for just a minute actually. And let's just select maybe just this longest one here. And let's hit the / key on the numpad to isolate it. And maybe now we work in solid for a while, so I'll press Z and go over to solid. Let's hit the tab key to tap into edit mode. And what shall we do? Okay, yeah, we've got this bottom edge here selected, so that's what I want to do actually. So I'll just do it again to help you do the same. So I'll select this one, and I'm going to hold Control, go to the other end, and select this one. And that's selected all of them. Then I'm going to right click, and I'm going to delete those faces. There we go. So the next thing I want to do is select all of these edges here. So I'll select this edge. Sorry, I'll press 2 so I can select edges. Grab this one. Now I'm going to actually go over to select, select similar, and select the same length. So it's selected all those edges, and that's what we want. Maybe I'll hold down Shift and just deselect this one. And maybe I'll do the same here. Just hold Shift and deselect this one. And I think actually I'll deselect this one. And deselect this one. There we go, that's what I want. We can do the same now here on the side. I'll grab this one and go over to select, select similar, and length. Maybe we'll hold Shift and deselect these, and we'll do the same on the other side. There we go, that's done what I want. Alright, with that done, let's zoom in a little bit, get ourselves a bit closer. And we'll just hit the tab key to tap out for a minute, check the scale and it's out. So we'll press Control A and apply rotation and scale. Let's tap back into edit mode using the tab key, and they're still selected. And now let's press Control B and just create a slight bevel on that edge. Maybe about that much. And we just want to have 2 segments. That's all I want to see, just there like that. And that's cool. So the next thing I want to do is select that inner loop. So I'll hold Alt and just grab that one like that. And I will hold Shift and Alt and grab this one. This will be a little bit tedious because we need to go all the way along. So on this one. This one. I'll stop talking for a minute and I'll just carry on. Are we nearing the end yet? Hopefully it'll take us by surprise in a minute. There we go, just keep going and go. Hey, that's the last one, that's cool. Okay, now that we've done that, let's have a look at what we're working in here. Let's go up here and go from global to local. And make sure here that we're in individual origin. And once we've done that, let's hit S and scale those in. And that's what I want. That's looking good. Now we can go ahead and actually just maybe grab that top edge only and do the same with the rest of them. And maybe then I will press G and Z and maybe just take those down a little bit. And that's cool. That's what I want. So the last thing I want to do is just select this edge here and go to the other end and hold on to Control and select that top edge like that. And should we do the same with the bottom? No, I think I'll leave that. So once we've got those, let's press Control B and bevel that edge as well. Maybe scroll the mouse wheel once on that. And yeah, that's cool. That's exactly what I want to do. Okay, let's tap out of edit mode on that. And yeah, that's looking really good. Let's do a shade auto smooth and see if that helps. And yeah, that's exactly the effect I want. Okay, let's hit the / key and bring everything back. And there we are, that's looking good. So I think we'll leave this lecture at this stage now, and the next lecture we'll just do these little returns the same way, putting these little joints in these edging tiles on these little returns. And then maybe after that we'll start looking at putting some paving slabs down over the rest of the pool, the area out the outside. Okay, thanks very much, and I'll see you in the next lecture. Bye bye for now. Hello and welcome now to lecture 14, and in this lecture let's go ahead now and finish our swimming pool. I think that'd be a good thing to do. So I don't think we need our ground floor plan for now, so I'm going to go ahead and hide that just here in the outliner, and then I'll compress our reference images. I think what I'm going to do is, rather than use this piece here now, I'm going to make duplicates of this long piece here because we already have all our nice grooves in it. So let's utilize this. So I'll just go ahead and delete this one. And I'm going to make a copy of this, so I'll press Shift D and Y and bring a copy over like this. And let's go ahead and put our orientations back to global, and here as well on our pivot points, let's put that back to median. And now that we've done that, let's go ahead and rotate that on the Z axis. So I'll press RZ 90, enter. And let's bring this over as well now and line it up at the end. Let's press 7 on the numpad so we can see this orthographically from the top. And let's go ahead and bring this down. And let's take a minute now to line this up. So I'll press G and X and just take this over. And now I'll press G and Y and bring it down. There we go, that's cool. Okay, so we've got a duplicate of that edge, and that's saved us a lot of work. But obviously it's too long. So what I want to do now is put an extra control loop just here so that we can delete all the material this side of it. So let's do that next. So let's grab it and let's tap into edit mode. And maybe let's go into orthographic view from the top. So I'll press 7 on the numpad. And make sure you're in edge selection. Grab an edge, press Control R, bring a loop in, and then bring this loop down so it's pretty much flush with the wall. There we go, something like that. Let's press Z and go into wireframe and press 3 on the keyboard so we can select faces. And then I'll just select all these faces here. Let's zoom in and see what else we need to select. Whoops. And let's select all of these as well. Whoops, not going well here, give me a second here. Let's grab all of these again. And these, and if we got all we need, I think that's it. So I'll press X and I'll delete faces. And there we go, that's worked. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is just create a face on the end here. So let's do that. So if I press 1, we can select vertices. I'll grab this vertice, hold shift, grab this one, right click, and new edge face from vertices. Let's click on that, and that's created a new edge there on the base for us. Let's press 2 so we can select edges now. And I'll hold down Control and I'll select this one as well. And now I'll hold Shift and just grab this last one. There we go. So with all the edges selected, I'll press F and that will fill that. So it'll put an extra face on the end there. Cool, that's that done. Let's press Z now and go back to solid mode and see what we got. Okay, so next thing we want to do is sort this out here. So what I want to do is put an angled cut here on the back edge. We could go straight if we wanted to, but I think I'm just going to go angled. I think it'll just look better. So let's do that next. So what I'm going to do first is press 7 and get an orthographic view from the top. And I'm going to press Shift A. And I'm going to bring in a plane. And I'll bring this plane over like this. Now I'll rotate it in the Y axis. I'll press Y, 90, enter. And then I'll bring this over now to this side. Let's get a bit closer to the action. Let's bring this down until its origin is on the corner just there. And then with that done, let's press R and rotate it until it's lining up with this internal corner just here. And that looks good to me. Okay, so we're going to use the Boolean cutter now to try and cut an angle in this piece here. So let's do that. Let's grab this piece here. Actually, let's just have a look at this and let's clean up the rotation. So let's press Control A and apply rotation and scale. And now let's select this piece, add modifier, generate, and Boolean. Make sure that you're in difference here, and then grab the dropper and click on this. And there we go, that's cut that through exactly where we want it, so I'll go ahead and apply it. Alright, cool. So now we need to do the same with this one. So let's grab this piece here now, check the scales, let's correct those. We'll press Control A and apply rotation and scale, add a modifier and use the Boolean modifier, grab the dropper and click on this one. And we have a problem. It's actually deleted the wrong side for us. There's a reason why it's done that, and it's this cutter that we've got here. The normals on this cutter are facing the wrong way. So what are normals? So what I like to think of normals as is if you think of a cereal box. Now on the outside of the cereal box you've got all the nice glossy writing telling you to buy it and how nice it is. And on the inside it's just grey cardboard. We have the grey cardboard facing the wrong way to make this cut. So Blender's listening to which way this panel is and cutting in that direction. So how we can check this, if we come up here, click on this little drop down and click on face orientation, and this normal is correct because it's blue, and if you look at everything else you can see that our normals are good so far, but this one here is wrong. It always had to be wrong for one side or the other, so it's correct for this side but not for this side, so we need to correct that. So what we can do is grab it, tap into edit mode with it, come up to mesh here, come down to normals and flip, and there we go. So now that has automatically cut that panel for us. We come back to this panel now, and we'll tap out of edit mode, come back to this one, and now that Boolean has worked correctly for us, so we'll go ahead and apply that. There we go. let's get out of this normals indicator face orientation setting. And let's work on the other one. So, because now we have a face on this, the opposite side of this is open. We have one face, so we can't just bring a duplicate over and flip it anymore, because it'll be incorrect. So we actually need to mirror this piece. So I need to show you how to mirror it. So what we need to do is bring the pivot point for this object to the center of the swimming pool. And the pivot point right now is way over here, so that's not right for us. So let's work on this. So what we'll do first is grab the object, right click, and set its origin to the geometry. And there we go. So we've brought the pivot point back to the center of the object. But that's not technically where we want it. Still not right. We want the origin, the pivot point of this object, to be dead center of the swimming pool. So we can do that too. So let's grab the swimming pool and let's press Shift S and cursor to the selected. So we've brought the cursor now to the middle of the swimming pool. So now let's bring the pivot point of this object to the cursor. So grab the object, right click, set the origin to the 3D cursor. There we go. So let's make our duplicate. So I'll grab the object, we'll press Shift E. It's turned white to tell us there's two of it. Let's right click twice and let's mirror in the x-axis. And yeah, that's worked. There we go. That's cool. So we brought a copy over here now, and that's looking good. Okay, so the only thing that remains for us to do now is to go ahead and put a cut on this one. So let's do that. So let's grab our cutting plane and let's press 7. And let's press Z and go to wireframe. Bring this over now to the opposite side. And let's go ahead and rotate that. Or let's actually put it in the right position. So I'll bring this closer to the edge like this. And I'll press R and I'll rotate this round. And let's take a look at that. And let's press R. Bring it back a little bit. And yeah, that's looking good. Let's press Z and go back to solid. Let's grab this one, add modifier, generate, and boolean. And then let's grab our dropper and click on this. And that's worked, so I'll go ahead and apply that. There we go, we can delete this object. And maybe we just do a little tidying up on this. So maybe I'll grab this one now. And I'll tap into edit mode. And I'll press 1 for vertices selection. And I'll go ahead and grab maybe just these vertices here. I'll press 7 and maybe just pull that over like this. And that's looking good. That's looking fine. Now let's have a look here. And yeah, that's looking good. Okay, so let's check these ones, make sure they're named, and they are. So we could actually join these three together then, so let's do that. Let's grab maybe this one, and this one, and we'll press Ctrl J and join those into one object. And we can actually rename this object here. We don't need the O to it anymore, so we'll delete that little bit, and there we go. And they're a different color just here, so I think what we have is a normals issue. So let's see if we can just check on that. Let's tap into edit mode and let's go ahead up here and do face orientation. And yeah, that's incorrect. So let's press A. Let's go over to mesh, normals, and recalculate outside. And there we go. That's sorted that out for us. Okay, let's tap out of edit mode, and there we go. We'll just turn off the face orientation again, and that's it. That's done. So in the next lecture, let's start looking at creating a ground, well, some external ground, some paving, I guess, around the swimming pool and around the house. Okay, thanks very much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye for now. Hello, and welcome now to lecture 15. And in this lecture, let's see if we can do these paving slabs on the outside here, around the pool and around the house. It may take more than one lecture. We'll just see how we do. We're not going to rush it. So, where to make a start with this? Let's start by putting the cursor back at the world origins. And if you remember rightly, the world origins, the world origins is exactly where all the axes meet, right in the center. So let's start by doing that. So we'll press Shift S and cursor to world origin, and there we go. So now the cursor's smack back there again, and that's what I wanted. Okay, let's press 7 on the numpad to get us back in the orthographic view above. Let's press Shift A and let's bring in a cube, and let's bring this down like this, and let's take this over to the edge of the swimming pool. And I'm actually going to use our edging from our swimming pool to indicate the size of our slabs as well. So I'll go ahead and press S now and scale these down, and I'll take it over and I'll hit S again, and I bring this into position just like this. And I'll scale it down a little bit more. Maybe position this. Maybe scale it up now. Maybe take it back a little bit. Maybe scale it up a tiny bit more. And I think that's pretty good. It's going to maybe take a little bit of playing around with this, but I think that's pretty good. I'll take it up a little bit, just to put a slight gap between the edging and the paving slab. Okay, let's press 7. Let's press 1 on the numpad to get us that front view. And maybe let's press Z and go to wireframe. We'll grab this box here and now take this down so that it's maybe down a little bit lower than the edging to the swimming pool, and that is a little bit lower. So I think that's right. Let's go ahead and tap into edit mode now. So I'll hit the tab key. Let's press 3 so we can select faces. I'll grab this face now. I'll press 1 again on the numpad to get us that front view, and now bring this up to about paving slab thickness. Something like that, I'd say. There we go, that's good. And now with that face also selected, I'm just going to press X and I'm going to delete that face, just again to reduce the amount of mesh we're using. Okay, I'm going to grab the top face now, and with that selected, I'm going to press 2 on the numpad so that we convert to edge selection. But now also these edges are all selected, which is what I want. And I may need to check the scale before we bevel this. So I'll tap out of edit mode, press Ctrl A, and apply rotation and scale, and that's corrected that. Let's hit the tab key, and with that done, let's bevel this edge. So let's press Ctrl B, and just apply a slight bevel to this edge like that. And I'll put segments at 2. There we go. Let's go back to solid mode now, and just check that that looks good. Let's press 7 to see this orthographically and see if there's anything we want to change. Let's tap out of edit mode on this one and maybe just take it down just a tiny bit in the Y. There we go. Just to reduce that gap a little bit. Maybe a tiny bit more. And there we go, that's good. Okay, let's name this. So I'll name this paving slab. There we go. And the next thing I need to do is actually apply a new modifier we've not used before to this. So with the item selected, let's add modifier and go down to generate, and this time we're going to use the array modifier. Now the array modifier duplicates the amount of items in the necessary direction. So at the moment it's duplicating in the x-axis, in the red axis, and you can see it's actually shown 2 now because the count is 2. And here is simulating the gap that we have in between them. So let's zoom in on these a little bit. And they're basically touching each other, so it's 1. It's exactly duplicated its own space once. So I want to create a slight gap between these. So I think here in the X factor, I'm going to add an extra 0, then an extra 5, and click enter and see what we get. And that's created a slight gap for us. And let's just see how that works. So what I'll do now in the count is I'll just increase this until we get to the other end and see what we've got. And I think I need to increase that gap, so we'll do that. Let's try increasing that gap to 1.009 instead of 5 and see what that looks like. And yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, we've gaps here aren't quite lining up, but that's not too bad. Maybe I could go 8.5 instead of 9. I click enter. And yeah, I mean, I think that's close enough. I think that's absolutely fine. We'll go with that. So I'll apply that now. And that's the array modifier we're using. Okay, so let's use the array modifier again now, but this time on the y-axis to fill up the gap to the door. So we select the item, add modifier, generate, and array. And of course, in the x, we don't want it to do this. We don't want it to send the equal number again over on this side. So let's turn x into 0, enter, and in the y, let's make this 1, and enter. And you can see what it's done there now. It's duplicated that number for us. So let's see if we can apply that same number again. So we'll go 1, 0, 9, 5, enter. And that's given us the equal gap now as well in the y-axis. So all that remains to do is increase the count and see how that works out up to the house. Let's see how that looks in relation to the door track that we fitted and see that looks nice. And it does, that actually looks really good. That height is perfect. So with that done, I'm going to go ahead and apply that. Okay, so that's a fair portion of the paving slabs already done. So now we need to sort of carry on in this direction. But this is one lump now. The array modifiers turn this into one lump. And that's pretty good, but we need a spare paving slab now, so we can start working this way. So let's get one from this. So let's tap into edit mode. And let's press 3 so we can select faces. We'll grab this face here. Anyone will do, really. And I want to show you a new trick. So I want to expand on this selection of this paving slab. So I'll hold down Control and then start tapping plus on the numpad. And you can see there that it's expanding on the selection. I can carry on plussing, but it won't go any further because it's reached the boundaries of that component. So we've selected all the faces now of that component. So with that done, I'm actually going to press Shift D and X and bring a copy out. But I want to separate that copy from these ones because at the moment that's still a part of this group and I don't want it to be. So to do that, I'm going to press P for separate, and then I'm going to separate by selection. And now that I've separated that out, it's created here in the outliner a different one. We have paving slab and paving slab 01. Let's tap out of edit mode, and this one here is paving slab 01 and this one is paving slab. So now this is a separate item. And I think what I'll do is I'll just make a duplicate of this again so we don't have to do that. The origins is way over here, so that's not right. So let's right click and set the origins to the geometry to bring that over. And now let's press Shift D and X and bring another copy out of the way over here. Okay, now what? I think what I'll do next is let's bring a paving slab up here to this corner level with this one. So let's press 7 to see this from above. And now we'll bring this up. It doesn't matter that it's under the house, no one will ever see that. And we'll just eye this up at this corner. Let's zoom in on that, see how it looks. And then we take it up on the Y, so I'll press G and Y and bring this up. And yeah, that looks good to me. Okay, so now that we have that paving slab in position, let's go ahead and apply another array modifier to that. So let's click on the item, add modifier, generate, and array. And I don't want to go in the X just now. I want to come down here in the Y. So let's delete the X. So we'll just put a 0 in there. And here in the Y, let's just click in the negative to bring this down like this. And let's have a look at that. And we still need to do a little bit more. So I'm actually going to add a 0 and put a 5 and click enter. And maybe we need to make that a 9, see how that looks. Enter. And maybe we make that a 10, so I'll delete that and add a 10 and click enter. Ah, that doesn't work. Okay, let's try that again. Let's make that a 9, 9, 5, click enter. And there we go. I think that's close enough for us. Okay, so with that done now, let's carry on just adding to the count. And we'll bring that all the way to the bottom and see how it fits. And yeah, that works out just fine. And again, I'm not worried about it going into this wall here because we'll never read that. Okay, so with that done, let's apply that now. And let's apply straight away another array modifier. So let's press 7 on the numpad to get us that orthographic view. Let's grab this one, add modifier, generate, and array. And let's just go ahead now and have a look at this gap. And maybe we just add a 0 to the end of that 0 and a 5 and click enter and see how that looks. And maybe we just turn that into a 9 and enter, and yeah, that's good. I think that's just fine. So let's go ahead and increase the count on that now until we come to the end. And yeah, that looks fine. That's absolutely what we want. Okay, so let's apply that modifier as well now. And let's go ahead and duplicate this now to the opposite side. So again, we need to put the pivot point for this one here in the origins in the middle. So let's right click and let's set the origin to the 3D cursor. And with that done, we can grab the object, press E, right click twice, and go ahead and mirror in the y-axis. Ah, the y-axis is wrong in this case. So here in this tab, just click on X and then delete the Y, and that's put that in the right place for us. Okay, so we just need to close that up a little bit by the look, and that's fine. So let's go ahead and set the origins now back to the geometry, and let's just bring that over slightly. Let's zoom in a little bit on that gap, and let's press G and X and bring that in just a little bit more to about that. I think that's fine. Alright, so what to do now? I think the next thing I'm going to do, rather than using array modifier again, is I'm actually just going to make a copy of this one and bring it over. So I'm going to select this object like this. I'm going to press Shift D and Y and bring a copy over now to the back like this. Let's focus on this area for a minute, making this gap look good. And we'll press G and Y and then bring this down until the gap looks about right. And that looks good to me like that. Okay, so now what? Let's actually tap into edit mode with this one. And let's make sure we've got face selected, and I have. I'll grab this face, I'll hold shift and grab this one, this one, this one, these ones here. And I think in this case actually I'll take this one and this one as well. And with that done, I'm going to expand on that selection. So we'll hold down Control and press plus until we've got all the faces of those paving slabs. And now I'll press X and I'll delete faces. And that's fine. We can just see them there like that, but that's fine. You'll never see that when we've got this staircase in place. So the next thing to do is to select this face, this face, this face, and then this face. Let's press 7 again on the numpad. And let's just press Control plus and make sure we've got all our selection on those. Press 7 again. And now bring these down until we have these in the right position. And that will be something like that. There we go. Okay, that's cool. That's what we want. So the next thing I need to do is actually to make a duplicate of these two here. So I'll do that. I'll select this face and this face. And let's hit Control plus to select all those faces. I'll press 7 again to get us the orthographic view. And I'll press Shift D and X and bring us a copy out like this. Let's check our gaps, make sure they're reasonable. And they're a little big, so I'll just bring that back a little bit like this. And let's grab these ones again. Control plus on those. And let's press P. And let's separate by selection. Okay, let's tap out of edit mode with that. And let's grab these ones now. And let's go ahead and do another array modifier. So we'll add modifier, generate, and array. And let's go the opposite way in the X. So I'll click this until these come over in the opposite way. And let's see what that looks like. And it looks like I need to just add maybe an extra 0 here and a 5 and click enter and see what that looks like, and that's too much. So let's turn that 5 into a 3 and click enter, and let's turn that 3 into a 2 and see what it look like, and let's try 1. And yeah, that's fine. So with that done, we just increase our count here and see where we get to now on this side here. And there we go, that's done. So we could grab this one here and we could press Shift D and X and bring a copy over now to the opposite side here like this. And it doesn't quite line up just here, but that's a corner that will never be seen, so I'm not overly worried. And we can actually just line these up here now, so we'll press G and X and just bring this over like this. And let's tap into edit mode now and just delete these couple of paving slabs. So we'll grab this one, hold shift and grab this one, this one, this one. And we'll expand on the selection on those, and then we'll press X and we'll delete those faces. Okay, so let's tap out of edit mode with that, and let's just see what we've got here. And as you can see, we've got a lot of paving slab groups here in the outliner, so let's see if we can join all these together all into one. So let's grab them. And that's all of them, and with all those selected, well, let's deselect the boundary wall, we don't want that. And with all those selected, let's press Ctrl J and join them all into one like that. And we could go ahead and rename this, so let's just lose that 006, the rest is just fine. And this paving slab here, we don't need this now, so we'll delete. And as you can see, this area here is a completely different colour. So again, that's a normals issue, so let's sort that out. Let's grab it and let's go ahead and have a look at our face orientation. You can see the issue there. Let's tap into edit mode with this and we'll press A for all, come up here to mesh and normals, and hello and welcome now to lecture 16. And in this lecture, let's have a go at making the staircase. Let's see if what we can do with that one. Okay, so let's make a start. So first of all, let's press 7 on the numpad to get us in the orthographic view. And let's turn on our images again, or just turn on for now ground floor plan. Let's just turn that on and see what we've got. Okay, so there's our staircase. So let's just make a cube straight away. So let's press Shift A and mesh, and let's make a cube. Let's take the cube over. And let's go into wireframe. So I'll press Z and wireframe. Let's scale this cube down now until it fits in there. Maybe scale it up a little bit. There we go, that's what I want. So now that I've done that, I will take that back right into the corner. And let's see what that looks like from the front. So I'll press 1 on the numpad. And we'll see where that is. And let's take the base of the cube up to floor level. So that is just there like that. And now we need to establish the height of this. So to do that, let's bring in the front elevation plan. And we kind of need to make the top of this cube level with the finished floor of the first floor. So let's tap into edit mode with this cube. We'll grab this top face and then I'll press 1 again to get us that orthographic front view. And let's just pull this up now until it's level with the finished floor of the first floor, which is there, just like that. Okay, so we've established the height now of our staircase. And the next thing I want to do is put some loops in this. And to be honest, I've previously worked out how many loops we need to do this, and it's 15. So I'll press 2 on the keyboard, grab this edge, and then press Ctrl R. I'll just roll the mouse a couple of times on the wheel, then I'll left click once, and I'll left click again. Now we've got our little tab open here so we can make some adjustments, and here I'll just take this up to 15. There we go, that's what we need. Now that we've done that, this bottom loop straight away, I'm going to dissolve that. I just wanted that one in there to get the correct spacing. So now that we've got that, I'll press 2 so I can select edges. I'll hold Alt and grab this one. I'll right click and I'll dissolve that edge. There we go, that's cool. Okay, so now what? Let's maybe go back to solid mode for a minute. Let's tap out of edit mode and let's maybe fix the scale. So I'll press Ctrl A and apply rotation and scale. And maybe let's isolate this object for a moment. So I'm going to hit the / key on the numpad. And now let's tap back into edit mode with this. And we don't need much of this anymore. I don't need a lot of these faces. So I'll press 3 on the keyboard, grab this one. I'll hold on to Control and select down here like this. And then I'm going to right click and I'm going to delete those faces. I'll do the same here. Right click and delete those faces. And I'll do the same here. Right click and delete those faces. And we don't need the bottom either. There we go. So we've just got this left. That's all we've got left of that cube. Okay, let's bring everything back. So I'll hit the / key again. And let's go into wireframe. So we'll press Z and go into wireframe. I'll grab this face here. I'll press 7 on the numpad. And I'm going to go ahead and extrude that now all the way to this wall over here. So I'll press E and bring this over like this until it's touching the opposite wall. Now the tab has appeared here, and in this I want to click on Dissolve Orthogonal Edges. And there we go, that's done. Okay, let's do that again. So I'll just grab this one here now and I'll press 7 and I'll press E, and I'll bring this over until it's level with that step there, like that. And now we just keep on repeating the process, remembering each time to click on dissolve orthogonal edges. There we go, so let's do the next one. Grab this one, press 7, and press E, and bring this over like this. Click just there, and dissolve orthogonal edges. And just keep on repeating the process all the way to the top. Remembering, of course, to just click on dissolve orthogonal edges. Okay, so let's carry on doing this. So I'll press 7, and I'll press E, and just keep on bringing these over, and dissolve orthogonal edge. Okay, so what this sort of zigzag line here means in the plan is it's called a break of scale. And what that's telling us is that this staircase actually continues, but the information in the plan stops there, but the staircase continues. So what it would have actually done is gone up onto the first floor, so which is why it's not seen on this ground floor elevation. So we're just going to make a kind of a few assumptions on this now. So we'll grab this next one here now, and we'll press 7, and I'll press E, and I'll just bring that, sort of make a guess at about there, and go ahead and dissolve. And we'll go again, we'll press E, and bring this forward to something like this, I think, and dissolve orthogonal edge. Okay, so there's our sort of start of our staircase, and let's take a look at it. So let's press Z and go over to solid, and that's looking pretty good. Pretty happy with that. Let's tap out of edit mode for a moment, and let's go ahead and isolate it and see what we've got. Okay, so the next thing I need to do is just create an extra step just here. So let's see if we can do that. So I'll tap into edit mode again, and I'm going to go ahead and just grab this edge here now. So I'll press 2 on the keyboard, grab an edge like this, and press Control R, and get a loop going through like this. And now I'm going to actually just grab this edge here like this now, and I'll press Control R, and just bring a loop over to about there like that. Okay, I'll press 3 on the keyboard so we can select faces again. I'll grab this face like this, I'll press 7, and then I'll press E and just bring this out like this. And there we go. That's our staircase, almost complete. So what we could do is go ahead and put some bevels on these edges just to soften these angles. So let's do that next. So we'll press 2 so we can select edges. And we'll just grab these edges, this one, well, all the way up the stairs really. There we go, all the way to the top. And I'll zoom in so I can just inspect my bevel. And I'll press Control B. And I'll just apply a little bevel. And that's kind of all I want is about that. I'll roll the mouse wheel once to get an extra segment in there. Maybe twice. There we go. And that's that. That's done. Let's tap out of edit mode. And yeah, that's looking good. I'm pleased with that. Yep, that's looking good all the way to the base. Let's bring everything back now. So I'll hit the / key on the numpad. And there's our staircase in position. Okay, so there's one more thing we could do. We can actually build this wall which goes in front of the staircase. So let's do that quick. So let's grab this wall here. Let's tap into edit mode. Make sure we've got edge selection. Grab this edge and press Control R and put a loop on this like this. Bring this kind of over in position and now press 7 and go ahead and now take this over until it's kind of flush with the staircase. Maybe even sort of living in the space of the staircase just a tiny bit like that. There we go. Now let's repeat that process. Let's grab that edge now and press Control R and take this one over. And now let's press 7 again. And now let's take this one over until it's in line with the wall. Like that. There we go. And with that done, let's press 3 so we can select faces. Let's grab this face here. And now let's press 7 again. And let's press E and extrude this out until it touches the staircase. Like that. And let's see what that looks like. And that is exactly what I want. Maybe I'll just bring that forward just a little bit more. So I'll press G and then Y and just bring that forward just a little bit more. And there we go. That's exactly what I need. So what I'll do is just put a slight bevel on that edge. So I'll grab this edge here, hold Shift and grab this edge, zoom in a little bit. Maybe we'll see it from the top. Maybe that's a better place to see it. And now let's press Control B and just try beveling those edges. Maybe something like that'll be fine. And that's good. There we go. That's that wall created too. Okay, so that's great. We're starting to make some really nice progress now. So in the next lecture, let's start building the first floor. Let's start looking at putting the floor in and creating some structure on the first floor. Okay, thanks very much, and I'll see you in the next lecture. Bye bye for now. Hello, and welcome now to lecture 17. And let's see if we can make a start on the first floor. Let's see what we can do with this. This may take a couple of lectures, but again, we won't rush it. We'll just take it nice and slow. So we don't need to see, for now, the ground floor view. So let's turn that off. And I don't think we need to see the front elevation straight away. So I'll turn that off as well. And let's bring on first floor plan. Okay, so I think for a minute as well, I'm going to hide the ground floor. So I'll go ahead and hide that too. So we just have the first floor plan showing. And that's the point. Let's create a new subfile for this first floor now. So let's go over to collection. And let's add a file. And there it is. And let's double click on it. And let's call this first floor. There we go. And let's go ahead and hide or sort of compress the reference images and the ground floor for a moment and just have the first floor selected. With that done, let's press 7 to get the orthographic view. And let's press Shift A and Mesh and Cube. And let's go ahead and name this cube. And we'll just call this First Floor Walls. There we go, that's cool. With that done, let's go ahead and scale this up until, let's actually go into wireframe and let's tap into edit mode with it and press 1 for vertices selection. Grab these vertices and take these to the edge. And I think I'm just going to let these just fly over the edge just a little bit. Maybe something like that. And now let's do the same on this side. Just bring them over like this. And that's a little too much. So I'll take this back until it's just flying over just a little bit. Let's have a look at the backside. So select these backside vertices now and see where they're at. And they're actually really good, so I'll leave those alone. And let's have a look at the front. And those are a little too far forward, so I'll grab those. And I'll press G and Y and just take them back a little bit like this. There we go, that's cool. So that's kind of now the footprint of our first floor. So let's go ahead now and have a look at reference images again, and let's bring in front elevation. Let's press 1 on the numpad so we can see this in the orthographic view. And let's bring back for a moment the ground floor too, because I want to see where the ground floor wall ends. So now I'll grab these lower vertices and I'll bring these up. And now let's roll in, get a bit closer to the view. And see where we're at. And I'm going to press G and Z and just bring these down until it's touching the ground floor wall. There we go. Let's grab the upper set of vertices now. There we go, we'll just grab those. And let's take those down till we get those level now with the staircase. Zoom in a little bit and we'll press G and Z and just bring those down. Let's get even closer so we can have a good look at this. Press G and Z and just bring those down until it's flush with the staircase. There we go, that's what we want. And that's our sort of the actual size now of our first floor. Okay, now what should we do next? Let's tap out of edit mode for a minute, inspect the scale, and that's wrong, so let's press Control A and apply rotation and scale. And let's go back to solid for a minute just so we can see what we're doing. And what do we need and what don't we need? Okay, we don't need this front elevation plan, so we'll hide that. And we don't need the ground floor again now, so we'll hide that. And I just need these two items. That's actually about it for now. Let's press 7 so we can see this in the orthographic view. And let's go ahead and go into wireframe again. And let's start applying some control loops to our wall. So let's grab the wall now and we'll tap into edit mode. And we'll press 2 on the keyboard so we can select edges. And we'll grab an edge here maybe. And we'll press Control R. And we're going to bring a loop flush with the back wall here. Let's have a look what we're doing. Take that back a little bit more. And yeah, that's good. Let's do the same now on the front here. Let's do that. So we'll grab this one here and we'll press Control R and we'll bring a loop across here on the front like this until it's level with these columns that we have. So we'll bring this back like this, and yeah, that's what we want, just like that. Okay, so let's do one now for this internal wall here. So we'll grab this edge here and we'll press Control R and we'll bring a loop over now until it's flush with that interior face of the external wall. Just like that. There we go. Let's do the same now on the opposite side. So we'll grab this one and we'll press Ctrl R and we'll bring this edge over. Oops, let's try that again. Grab this edge here and we'll press Ctrl R and we'll bring this one over like this. Again, let's zoom in and just pull that into position exactly. That's it, that's what we want. Okay, now let's continue with this. So where shall we go next? Let's have a go at doing a wall or a set of loops for this wall here. So I'll grab this one here again and I'll press Ctrl R and I'll bring a loop over about there. Let's have a look, let's zoom in. And that's fine. And let's do that again now. So we'll press Ctrl R and we'll bring a loop over like this. Take it a bit further and there we go. Okay, let's do the same for this one. So we'll grab this edge here and we'll press Ctrl R and we'll go ahead and bring this back like this. And we'll do the same here. Ctrl R and bring a loop back like this here. Cool. And we'll just keep on working these until we've got all these walls covered. So we'll press Ctrl R, bring this one back like this. And grab another one here and press Ctrl R and bring this one back as well like this. Maybe bring over a bit more. There we go, that's cool. Where else do we need to go? Maybe one here now to catch this wall. Do we need to do that? Yes, we do, because we need an edge there. We do indeed. So I'll grab this one, press Ctrl R, and bring this one over like this. And maybe bring this now level with that one. There we go. And we'll do the same here. Press Ctrl R, and bring this one over as well. And make that level with that column as well. That's it. And do the same for this one. So we'll grab here and we'll press Ctrl R and we'll bring this one over like this. And do the same again. Ctrl R and bring this one over like this. That's cool. And now we'll undo this wall here, this bathroom wall. So we'll grab this one and we'll press Ctrl R and we'll bring this over like this. And let's see where that's landed. Maybe over a bit more. There we go. And we'll do the same again. Ctrl R, bring this over. And there we go. And this should be the last one, or last two. And one more here. And last one. Ctrl R, and bring this one now over to here like this. Alright, that took a few minutes, but you'll see the impact of this in just a few minutes when we extrude this. Okay, so what's next? I think the next thing I want to do is press 3, so we select faces. I'm going to select one of these faces on the underside. I'm going to go over to select, select similar, and coplanar. Once I've got all those faces, I'm just going to hit H just to hide them at this stage, so that we don't accidentally select them when we're selecting the top faces. Now let's press 7 again. And let's start selecting all the walls. So this may take a few minutes, so bear with me and then just follow along. So we'll grab this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. Just follow along and see what I do. Takes a bit of thinking to which ones you need and which ones you don't, but take your time. Okay, we need these little pillars, so I'll just select that on its own. And we need this pillar here. And do we need anything else, or is that all of them? I'm just taking a sec just to see. And I think that's all of them. I think that's all we need. So that's cool. So let's just roll that forward like that. And let's press 1. And with that done, let's just press E and extrude those up in the Z axis. Like that. And that's cool. There we go. How impressive is that? In one hit, we've got all our walls built. Let's press Z and go back to solid and see how that looks. And admittedly, we still need to cut our doors out, but that's really cool. And the thing is, by doing this now, this entire first floor is just one component with absolutely minimal mesh. And we'll take a few minutes in the next lecture to sort of just tidy up some of this unnecessary edges that we don't need anymore, just dissolving those as we go, just to keep this mesh as simple as possible. So I think there's just a few more things that I want to do before we call this lecture done. So let's just grab one more. Oh, before we do that, let's bring back the front elevation. Then let's select a face just on the top here that we just extruded. Go over to select again. Select similar and coplanar. Let's press 1 and let's bring that to where we need it to be, which is just level with the roof line like that. Does it want to be any more? Let's just zoom in a little bit and maybe take it up just a tiny bit more to about there like that. Okay, so what's next? So I think we'll go over to wireframe. So let's press Z and go to wireframe. And let's press 2 so we select edges. And let's select an outer edge maybe. And we'll press 1 on the numpad to get the orthographic view. And let's press Ctrl R. And now let's bring this entire loop up till it's level with the top of the windows. And that's fine with me like that. And now let's do the same with this pillar here. Let's press 1. And let's press Ctrl R. And just bring this up as well until it's in the same position. There we go, that's cool. Okay, so now let's do the same on this side. Let's grab this edge here and press 1. And let's press Ctrl R. And let's bring this loop up until it's level with the window like that. There we go. And now let's grab this pillar. Let's press 1 again on the numpad to get the orthographic view. And let's press Ctrl R and bring this one up as well till it's level with the window. There we go, that's cool. So now let's go back to solid mode. So I'll press Z and go back to solid. And I'm going to show you a new trick. I'm going to grab faces this time, so I'll press 3 on the keyboard so we can select faces. Grab this one, hold shift and grab this one. And with those two faces selected, right click and bridge faces. and that's just created an instant column. You can see over there, an instant structure over there. Let's do the same again here. Grab this one, hold shift and grab this one, right click and bridge faces. And we'll continue this. So we'll grab this one, hold shift and grab this one, right click and bridge faces. And now the last one, this one here, right click and bridge faces. And there we go. That's our entire first floor walls all completed. That was really, you can see how easy it is sometimes to model in Blender. It really doesn't need to be that complex. Alright, thanks very much, and I'll see you in the next lecture. Bye bye for now. Hello, and welcome now to lecture 18, and let's carry on with our first floor. Let's see what we can do just to refine this a little bit more. So I think the first thing I want to do is let's go ahead and hide our ground floor. So let's turn that off for now, so we just have the first floor. And let's tap into edit mode with that and see what we've got. And if you remember, in the last lecture we hid this bottom surface, so let's go ahead and bring that back. So to do that, I'll press Alt H, and that will bring back all surfaces. And now with that back, I'm actually going to go ahead and delete that, believe it or not. So I'm going to press 3 on the numpad, grab a face, come over to select and select similar, and coplanar. I'll press delete and delete all faces. There we go. Okay, so next I just need to remove as many of these unnecessary curves now as possible. So let's go ahead and start doing that. So I'll press 2 and grab this one and just go around now grabbing unnecessary edges. And then once you've got a nice amount selected, just right click and dissolve edges. And there we go, we've cleaned up that face now a lot. So let's go ahead and do the back now. So this is a big one, so this might take a few minutes. Okay, so now I've selected the back. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to right click and I'm going to dissolve edges. And there we go, that's cleaned that up as well. So I'm going to pause the video and continue this. And then if you guys can do the same, just go ahead and dissolve all edges which aren't being used. And then let's meet back here when we're all done. Okay, I'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, hi and welcome back, and it's looking a lot better now. We've cleaned up the mesh and everything's nice and super simple, and that's the way it should look. There are a few edges here that Blender just won't permit me to dissolve, and I'm not going to worry about these little bits here. It's really not an issue at all. Okay, so what else do we need to do? I need to sort of put a a surface here and actually close this up next, because this is essentially the ceiling for our ground floor. So let's do that next. So let's make sure we're in edge selection and grab these edges. There we go, just grab all of those and then just press F to fill that. And now we have this enclosed, so that's good. Okay, the next thing I want to do is, well, let me just show you on the first floor plan. We have a balcony here, we need to put this in. But I think what I'm actually going to do with this is put this balcony just flush with these columns here. I don't think this one needs to be doing this. I don't see any point in that. So yeah, I'm going to put it just flush with the column there. So I'll hide this first floor plan again. And I'll select this edge here like this. I'll right click and I'll subdivide. And I'm going to put 2 cuts in it. And there we go. So we haven't seen those yet, but if I press 1 so we can select vertices, we can see those now. So I'm going to select this one over here, and I'm going to press 1 on the numpad to get the orthographic view. And I'm going to bring that over till it's in line with the one above it, just there on the column. Yeah, that's what I want, that's fine. And then I'll do the same with this one. I'll just grab this vertices here and bring it over so it lines up with the column. Okay, there we go. Now I'll grab this vertices here, hold shift and grab this one. I'll right click and I'll connect vertex path. There we go, that's done. And then I'll do the same here. Grab this one, hold shift, grab this one, right click and connect vertex path. I'll press 3 on the keyboard now so we can select faces. Grab this face that we've just created and I'll press E and I'll extrude this out. Just like that. So I guess we need to know how far that needs to project. So I'm going to go ahead now and bring in the first floor plan again. And I'll press 7. And I'll just bring this forward until it lines up with the edge like that. There we go. That's cool. That's exactly what I want. So I guess now I could actually go ahead and press 2 and just grab this edge here. Hold shift and grab this edge here. And we can right click and we can dissolve those edges. They're not needed now. And there we go, that's looking good. So in the next lecture what we'll do is we'll cut the hole here for the staircase. We'll do that and then we'll start applying some bevels to some of these edges. Alright, thanks very much and I'll see you in the next lecture. Bye bye for now. Hello, and now welcome to lecture 20, and in this lecture let's go ahead and see if we can make our windows here in the front of the first floor. But before we do that I want to start organizing our outline a little bit because we're going to quickly get a lot of items in here, so we need to try and make sure that it's easy to find things in here. Let's turn on the ground floor and let's open that up. And you can see we're starting to develop quite a few items in there. So I think what I want to do is create a sub file for all the exterior items on the ground floor. So let's do that. So let's click on the ground floor and then let's add a sub file. And there it is, and I'll name this. And I'll call this outside. There we go. And now I'm just going to grab the paving and the pool edging and the pool and also the boundary walls. And when I've got all those items selected, I'll press M and I'll go down to collections and I'll go to ground floor and I'll click on outside. And now all those items have been allocated to this outside subfile within ground floor. And that's started to organize that a bit for us. Okay, I'll compress that and I'll compress the ground floor, and I'm going to turn off the ground floor after doing all that work on it, so let's do that. Let's hide that. I don't think I need this plan anymore for now, so I'll turn off ground floor plan. And I'm going to turn on front elevation plan. And there we go. And I also want to start adding some sub-files to this, to our first floor walls, or our first floor file. So I'll grab the main file here, and I'll add a sub-file to this. And I'll add another sub-file, so I'll click it again, and click on this. There we go. So we got, it's these two here, first floor 1 and first floor 2. So I'll click on the first floor one and I'll double click until I can rename it. I will call this bedroom 1. There we go. And I'll call this one bedroom 2. Actually, why don't we go a bit further while we're here? So let's also click on first floor again and do that again. And let's call this bathroom. And let's call this veranda. So let's click on it one more time and add folder and click on this. And how do you spell veranda? Is that right? I don't know. Let's just, if it's not spelled right, let's just keep it between us, okay? Okay, right or wrong, that's what I've called my veranda. Okay, so what now? Let's start work on a window in this one. I think that's the next thing to do. So let's press 1 to get us the orthographic view on the front. That's 1 on the numpad. And let's go to wireframe view. So let's press Z and go to wireframe. Let's bring in a plane. So let's press Shift A and mesh and plane. And let's rotate that plane on the x-axis. So RX 90, enter. Let's bring this up and bring this over. Let's bring it down a little bit. And let's scale it up, so we'll hit S and just scale this up a little bit. And I think now let's just tap into edit mode. Press 1 so we can select vertices. I'll grab these ones here. Bring these over until this fits nicely into this hole that we've got for the windows. That's something like that. Let's grab this one too. Bring this over. And let's do the same now with the base and the top. On the top as well. Take that up. There we go, that's cool. Okay, so let's tap out of edit mode and let's press 7 so we see this from the top. And now let's bring this forward so it's sitting where it needs to be, which is about there, I'd say. It doesn't seem to meet that corner, so I'll tap back into edit mode, grab this one here and maybe just bring this over that last little bit to there. And that looks better. Okay, so now what? Let's go back into solid mode and see what that looks like. And yeah, it's looking good. So let's tap out of edit mode, grab this on its own and hit the / key on the numpad to isolate it. And let's press 1 so we see this from the front. I did want to keep the plan at the back. So I'm going to unisolate. And on this front elevation plan, I'm going to turn on. So I'm going to turn it on so that we can do things with it. So I can select it again, grab that, then grab this one, the two together, and then hit the / key to isolate. Let's press 1 so we get that orthographic view. And now straight away, let's lock that front elevation again so I can't accidentally move it. Alright, let's press Z and go back into wireframe. And I think the next thing I want to do now is divide this window so that we have these verticals in it. Let's grab it and let's tap into edit mode. Let's press 2 so we select edges, and I'll grab this top edge and I'll press Ctrl R, put a loop in, and then I'll roll the mouse wheel until I have these verticals like that. And that's fine. That's just what I want. I think I'm going to trust Blender to center them. I won't look at the plan behind, try and center it to that. I'll just trust Blender that it's centered them absolutely perfectly, and it will have. And there we go. Alright, let's go back to solid mode now. Ah, there's my window there. And I think now I can go ahead and turn off this rear view. I don't need that anymore, so I'll go and hide that. So we've just got this. And the next thing I want to do is be able to select faces. So I'll press 3 on the keyboard. I'll grab this one, hold shift, grab this one, this one, this one, and this one. And I want to inset this now, so I'm going to press I, and now just inset those slightly, like that. That's what I want. But I wanted that to have separated at these points. So if I come down here to individual and click on that, it'll do that for me. And there we go. That's done. An issue I do have though is these center verticals are twice the width to these outside ones, so I think I'm just going to adjust that by hand and by eye. So I'll press 1 so we see that from the front, and I'll press 2 so we can select edges, and I'll grab this edge, hold shift and grab this edge, and I'm going to press S and X and just bring those in until it looks about the same width as this one, roughly. So I'll grab this one, and I'll press S and X and do the same. That's better. Do the same with this one. S and X. And last two. SX and bring those in too. Alright, cool, that's good. Whoops. Okay, so now let's press 3 so we can select faces. And let's press A for all. And now let's extrude that in the Y-axis. So I'll press E and Y and go ahead and take that back to get some thickness to this like that. Now I'm going to grab these faces, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and I'll extrude those in as well. So I'll press E and Y and take those in to something like that. And I'll grab the faces on the back, this one, well, all of those main faces, which will be the glass in the end. And I'll press E, then Y, and take those in. If I go too far, then it'll turn that color to say that I've gone within the limits of the other extrusion. So I'll just bring it back a little bit to set the thickness of the glass. And there we go. That's cool. So there's our basic main window frame, and I think that looks fine. But I can take this a little bit further. Let's tap out of edit mode for a moment and take a look at this. And let's hit the / key to bring back the frame. And how we're going to make things look really realistic is to have details on them. And if you look at any window, really, there is a seal between the glass and the frame. So I think the next step is to create that seal, which will be like a black rubber material when we start applying textures. But I think that's quite an important detail to put in. So let's do that next. Let's grab it and isolate it again. And what should we do next? Let's grab this and let's name it. So we'll name it window. And let's put this into bedroom 1. So I'll just pick it up and drag it over into bedroom 1. There we go. And now let's tap into edit mode with it. And I want to select, so let's grab these edges here. So I'll grab this one and this one and this one and this one. Once I've got those edges, I'm going to press Shift D and Y to bring them out nice and straight from the window like that. Okay, so I'm not going to separate those from the window just for now. So I'll press P and separate by selection. And there we go. Let's tap out of edit mode and see what we've got here now. And the first thing I want to do now is convert this to a curve. So I'll right click and I'll convert to a curve, but Blender won't let me. I'll show you a neat little trick. So with this selected, I'll come over to here and I'll rename it. And what should we call it? Well, let's call it what it's going to be. Let's call it window seal. There we go, window seal. And now that I've renamed it, Blender will now let me convert it. So I'll grab it again, right click and convert to a curve. This allows me to do things with this, and it's really cool what it allows me to do. So I'm actually in the right file. I'm in data right now, object data properties. So click on this one and I'll just close these. So first of all, within geometry, expand that. And in bevel here, just let's make as depth on the bevel. So that first one, let's see what that does. That's kind of cool already. That's what I really want. Is that too big? So you can see what it's done. It's actually where that curve was. It's created a tube and it's followed the path of the curve. And it's a nice, easy way. I should explain myself there rather than just piling past. And that's what it's done. So this bevel here on object data properties allows us to convert a curve into a shape. Let's increase the resolution to about a 7, I'd say. And there's also extrude here. So I'm going to actually click on extrude and just make that a little bit oval in shape. And now let's grab it and let's right click and set the origin to the geometry. Let's press 7 and let's take this back until it's within the window. Let's press Z and go back to wireframe for a moment. And let's bring that to the center of the window like that. And that looks too much. So I think on the extrude here, I'm going to add an extra 0. And click enter and see what that looks like. And I think that's going to look better. Let's go back to solid mode now and see what that looks like. And it's looking pretty good actually. I think I might just increase that extrude from a 1 to a 2 and see what that looks like. Ah, that looks slightly better. Yep, we've got a nice rubber seal now either side of that glass, and that's going to look really good. I'm pleased with that. Okay, so now that we're happy with that, let's select the item. Let's right click again and convert it back to a mesh. And there we go. That's cool. That's a super quick way of creating a seal on that glass. Let's press 1 to get us that front view, and then let's grab that seal and maybe we go back to wireframe. And now let's go ahead and press Shift D and let's press X and bring a copy over now to this window like this. And let's go ahead and just scale that slightly in the X. So I'll press S and X and just make that slightly bigger like that. Okay, let's grab this one now. And let's press Shift D and X and bring a copy over again. And let's see what that looks like. Maybe scale this down slightly in X, so S and X. There we go. sort of center that, that's fine. And we'll go again. So Shift D and X and bring a copy over again. And let's have a look at that one, and that one's better. And one last time, we'll press Shift D and X and bring this over as well. And I'd say this one's too big. So I think we'll scale this down in the X. So S and X and bring this down just a bit like that. Bring it to the center. And there we go, that's cool. Okay, let's go back to solid mode and have a look at this and see how it all looks. And yeah, that's looking good. Okay, the next thing I want to do actually, I think, is I want to try and apply a bevel now to this. So let's see if we can do that. So let's click on modifiers and add modifier and generate and bevel. Let's tap out of edit mode from, oh actually we're okay. Let's go ahead and fix the scale on this. So let's press Control A and fix rotation and scale. And let's reduce our bevel. So let's actually add a 0 here and click enter. And I think I'm going to do that again. So I'll add another 0 and click enter. And then I'll turn that 1 into a 5 and click enter. And yeah, that works out just fine. Maybe a 4. Maybe make that a 4 and click enter. And let's turn our segments to 3. And there we go. I think that's fine. Now that looks good. So with that done, let's go ahead and apply that bevel. And that looks really good. So I think the final thing I want to do now is join those rubber seals into the main window group. So if I select these rubber seals, 1 down to 4, and now select the window. With all those items selected, let's press Ctrl J and join them back into the window. So now we have simply one item again, and that's what we want. Okay, let's press / to bring everything back. And let's bring a copy over to the opposite side now. So let's press 1 to get us that orthographic view of the front. And let's grab this window and let's press Shift D and X and bring a copy across like this. Bring it to about the middle. And obviously we'll need to scale this up a little bit. And we'll press S and X and just increase the width of this window a bit. Maybe bring it back over a little bit and press S and X and just increase the size a little bit more. Okay, there we go. There's our 2 windows in place, and I think they're looking, yeah, really good. I'm pleased with those. Okay, thanks very much, and I'll see you in the next lecture. Bye bye for now.